What's crackin', and welcome back to Disney Dreamlight Valley. I'm cozyceto, and I'm so happy you're here for another live episode in our Decoding Dreamsnaps series, where we break down what it takes to win 4K by studying our wins and dissecting the data. This week, we are going to be diving into everything you need to know about integrating villagers into your dream snaps. We will start with the basics of how I choose who to add and who I think gives you a boost in almost every snap. Then we will be moving right along to discuss the best strategy for gathering and trapping your villagers, and finally we will round it all out with some tips and tricks to help get you certain poses, and I think it could benefit anyone looking for certain animations to their snap. If you are excited for another episode and can't wait to learn more, drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on all of my Disney Dreamlight Valley content in the future. Let's dive right on into it. Alrighty, first things first, before you or I or anyone goes gathering and trapping villagers, I think it's important to understand who you are adding and why. I think NPC villagers can be fantastic additions to snaps, as we discussed in last week's episode. If you remember our silly acronym we talked about, make sure to drop that emoji in the live chat or in the comments. I still can't believe when I wrote out my must-haves, it came out to something so random, but it is very easy to remember, so for that I am grateful. If you do remember last week's video, the C right in the middle of our tacos may stand for characters, but adding a bunch of random ones can definitely hurt your snaps more than they can help by creating a cluttered or even overwhelming shot. Let's talk about my process for choosing characters by using another simple checklist. This one doesn't have a funny name, but it's just as easy as A, B, C, so it should be very easy to remember or write down. First up, we have A for aesthetic. What does the aesthetic of the theme call for? For example, any of the princesses would have made perfect additions for the Disney Princess Week challenge during Dreamsnap 58. Another example would be using Mickey or his friends during the Welcome to Toontown theme of Week 81. Next, we have B for builds. What reasonably fits into your build and the design of your decor is incredibly important to note. No matter the type of challenge, how you stage and frame your shot will determine what characters may or may not be fitting to your space. Whether this is due to height, storytelling animations, or how much available space you really have to place characters in your set, it is definitely something that is invaluable to consider so you don't lose the overall fluidity of your shots. Lastly, and what I consider to be the most important piece, is C, and that is for the overall cohesiveness of your photo. This is what I think about when I'm starting to think of things like symmetry, which we will discuss further next week, as well as other factors such as color balance and using references to the same franchise. Think pairing Aladdin and Jasmine for My Lost Oasis, or Simba and Nala during Hakuna Matata. It just makes sense. The other pieces of choosing your characters can include choosing popular additions such as Mickey and Minnie, who keep being rumored to increase scoring even though I have not seen any clear concrete evidence of this. My theory around the higher scoring, if there really is any, is that these are just beloved characters that happen to be recognized by many people across generations. This includes kids who may be playing and may be voting on these submissions. In turn, this makes your snap appeal to an even wider audience and thus has a better chance at earning votes when it appears in the rotation. Additionally, I believe that taking advantage of different dream styles can add a very exciting spin on your shot and help elevate it even further. I think that that is the case with what happened in my lights camera action submission, where I earned rank 636 and 4,000 moonstones, and I fully accredit the nice finishing touch of Platinum Mickey and Minnie to round out this photo. There are many creative ways you can go about using different dream styles and character placements to win big. But it may seem overwhelming to even get more than one character in your shot at a time, so I want to go over how I go about gathering and trapping characters to get my perfect photos. We are on a pre-built, simple little set to just showcase the process of character placement, so enjoy my shameless second showcase of the new Victorian manor. On this set, there is a ton of open space around my foliage, which can help easily hide cologne bottles, simple lamps, or really just any small trapping decor that you may wish to utilize. For this snap, we will be using Tiana, Ursula in her Vanessa dream style, and Ariel in her human form dream style, and I think the cool colors of their dresses and the casual girly feel will hit all three of our ABCs very nicely. Of course, knowing who you want to work with is important, but getting these slippery villagers exactly where you want them is often the greatest hurdle. I happen to use the exact same method as Mr. Star and Sky, who already made a fantastic guide on how we use some of the gathering items to get who you want, where you want them, anytime, anywhere. So I will link that below and we will move right along to how I trap and pose my villagers. I don't think it matters who you start with placing in any scenario, but the process is nearly the same for each villager. First, you want to decide where they'll be. Since I am beginning with placing Tiana in our set, since I know exactly where I want her over by the food table, we are in the camera mode to check the intended angle first and see how we can hide some small items and keep her snug in place. I think that the bushes over there will definitely help us out, and the purple against the green of her dress can offer a nice contrast as well. So let's hop into the furniture mode and see if we can't set up her space. In the furniture mode, I have a little trapping toolkit set up in my favorites, and I highly suggest building one of your own as you see which items get the most use in your sets. For me, the items here that I include on the list of my trapping toolkit are the elegant water lilies, the cologne bottles, and the simple lamps. Both of the last two are available in the base version of Scrooge's shop, so they are fully accessible to most players. I love these three items because they can be easily hidden to create that illusion that everyone is free to roam as they please, even if they are very much so stuck in one spot. Using this kit, I just need to make sure that I cover the entire perimeter around where we want to house Tiana. I think I'm going to use the simple lamps, and we want to have her over here, so we're just going to kind of build a small little space for her, and then I'm going to want to remove one just to make sure that I can get her in there. So let's go ahead and nudge her over. I know this looks super silly, but we're just going to walk into the character until they are right where we want them to be. Then you can go back into furniture mode and we can replace that one right there. I think we should be good. And you can always try to walk in there with them just to double check. But the nice thing is now I can easily stop hanging out with her and we can move on to the next one. And we will repeat this process until we get them all in place. And then once they're all in place, we will pretty it up. And so I will meet you back when we are making everything look nice. Now that everyone is in place, we could leave everything as is, but that would leave those lamps as such an eyesore and would rightfully tank the results on a submission like this should we be submitting it for reals. Thank goodness, hiding small items is incredibly easy, and oftentimes what you end up using to hide things can replace your current trapping work and elevate the shot even further by creating a very natural and cohesive look. For this shot, both Ariel and Tiana's traps are hidden by bushes, which is a very nice way to do it if you don't want them as the focal point of your photo and you're not worried about cutting off some of their outfit. The one we do need to adjust and really worry about is going to be Vanessa up front, and since we already have a tea party vibe going on, I kind of have an idea of what we can do here. And isn't that so much better? Since I had her already placed and trapped, it was so easy to see exactly where to place a few extra items to top off my foreground and sell the cozy tea party story. How you do this will always be very unique to you, but trapping with small items to hide or replace can be a great way to speed up your building process, since you'll already know where your characters are without spending most of your playtime going in and out of the furniture menu. Once everyone is trapped, you may be wondering what to do next. There are tutorials out there by numerous creators and across other socials discussing attention-grabbing characters like Jack Skellington, Hades, and Flynn to get all of your characters looking the same direction. However, I think those shots can get kind of stale and boring since the characters won't really do anything but look forward, and they won't offer any animations during this time. So, if you're like me and you love a little movement in your dream snaps, there are a few other ways you can try to coax out those perfect animations without sitting for hours waiting for the stars to align. The first bit of advice that I have is just to place some wondrous items at the very front of your set to help coax your characters to look forward. They will still be free to do animations, unlike if you used Flynn, Hades, or Jack to get this effect, so I do suggest using this if you want to get some more animation in your characters, but still want them to be looking forward. Ariel and Vanessa are complying, but I may need to add something a little bit closer to Tiana to get that full effect. Now, the only downside with this is that every wondrous item is going to pull their attention equally, so if you have other wondrous items on the set, this is not foolproof and can definitely be tricky and finicky, so I suggest using one of the attention-grabbing characters if all you care about is just getting them all to look forward. Oh good, a text bubble. Lovely. A couple other tips and tricks that can coax certain positions and don't quite apply to what we're doing here today include making sure that your characters have plenty of room in their trapped space to sit down if that is what you are looking for. We are not working with chairs here, but if you are, I highly suggest checking the space to make sure that there is enough if more than 5 minutes or so passes and they haven't attempted to sit even one time. Another thing to keep a note of is that some benches you can only sit on one way, and that includes villagers as well, so it is worth paying attention to make sure that they can actually sit down where you want them. Additionally, you can play around with entering and exiting the furniture menu to trigger idle animations, as that is a long circulated trick to get those villagers moving, and it still works today for some characters. I do believe they are slowly starting to patch this, so it is not as foolproof as it once was, but this is an oldie but a goodie that has been long shared with the community, so it is worth mentioning in this video. Now for the last trick we're going to go over, and probably my favorite. What we're going to be doing is waiting patiently for one of those pesky little text bubbles to appear, so that way we can make the most out of it and take advantage of the crappy things in the valley to make them beautiful. In this case, some characters have very exciting animations when they start talking, but of course you don't want one of those gaudy giant text bubbles in your dream snap. In order to get those animations on your screen, what you're going to do is going to take a little bit of quickness, but it is not too difficult because most of these characters are pretty slow talkers, so it does give you an extra minute to react. When they start talking, we are going to go into the furniture menu, and then we're going to exit back out and immediately enter the photo mode. What this is going to require is already having our photo mode equipped through the camera, and then we are going to also just want to be very aware of how to get into our furniture menu so that way we can be as efficient as possible with it. For me, because I do play on the computer, but I use a combination of keyboard and mouse and a controller, what I'm going to do is quickly go into the mode using the F button on my keyboard, but I am going to then back out and do the rest of what I do with my controller per usual.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Since everyone had suddenly decided to swear silence once I started going to showcase this trick, and the entire point of the episode is to help you add movement to your shots without adding stress to your shots, I have gone ahead and just locked in this cute wave from Vanessa with these excited expressions from the others to be our final on this set. I think this is gorgeous and is a great example that you don't have to get exactly the animations you're looking for to get gorgeous animations nonetheless. I would be over the moon if this were a real dream snap, and these were the poses I locked in on my characters. Of course, I probably would fill in the set a bit more, but as far as the movement goes and as far as the posing goes, this is flawless for me. So I am very happy with how everyone looks, and I think that all of the expressions are very excited and animated and detailed. If you want to see a more detailed look at this trick specifically, you can check out my New Year celebration build that I will also link in the description, where I had much more luck with getting them to talk, and I was able to showcase a bright and detailed take on this trick to pose Mickey and Minnie in a casual conversation that won us a rank of 1,461. Catching them while they are talking to other characters is the easiest way to guarantee that they'll stay still, but it can be hard because you may need to play with the angles to keep anyone from hitting an unflattering position. When executed properly, however, this can create a really cozy, natural feel, seeing your characters converse in a snap, and can add an additional layer of excitement for voters as they may start to speculate what the deeper story is, or even what the conversation between them may be. It can also open the door for insanely unique poses like I was able to capture in your favorite bag with Jack's unique and exciting animation for the rank of 1,707. I thought the way that he was leaning forward and really checking out my character was exceptionally unique and very fitting for a showcase where it was all about showing off my favorite bag. Those are absolutely some of my favorite tricks to getting villagers to animate, but if you have any more, feel free to drop them in the chat or in the comments and add to the conversation. I am always looking to learn more, and who knows, you may help me discover something new here too. From choosing to trapping to posing, getting NPCs in your shot may seem a bit daunting at first, though I promise it is so rewarding and can absolutely elevate your snaps to add that extra bit of depth and animation to push you right into 4K. This community is beyond talented, and y'all are always finding ways to innovate, which inspires me to do the same. I hope y'all learned something new here today, and I hope I'll see you back next week, same time, same place, as we uncover why symmetry wins. I will catch you in the next one, but until then, toodles!